Alright, so we're going to talk about strong and weak acids and strong and weak bases. The difference between strong and weak is the same for both of them, so I'll just go into one, and then we'll talk about the other one. I'll start this when pour an acid or a base into water, ionizes. Ionizes just means kind of breaks in half, and there's two or more ions after that, right? In case of an acid, there's a hydrogen ion, and then whatever the other piece is, the anion. In the case of a base, you might have a metal and a hydroxide ion. So that's it, they break up into parts. So with an acid, for example, here's HCl, hydrochloric acid, most common one. You pour it into water. So we'll write H2O up here because it's not part of the reaction, but it's in water. And it breaks up into hydrogen ion and chloride ion. So that's what ionizing means, just breaks up into ions, right? It becomes ionized. So this happens for any acid or any base. In the case of a strong acid, all of the particles, so how many moles of this stuff we have, we're going to end up with that many moles of hydrogen ions and that many moles of chlorine. It's going to break up. All the particles are going to break up. It's going to happen. They're all going to ionize. But in the case of a weak acid, they don't all ionize. So let me show you. So this would be a strong acid, right? It's supposed to be only one end is strong. So a weak acid would be like, here's one, C2H4O2. So this is acetic acid, so that's in vinegar. So with this one, when you pour it in the water, it's a reversible reaction, right? Some of it is going to turn into hydrogen and acetate, and some of it's going to stay this stuff. So we're going to get H plus, and basically we're going to subtract the hydrogen from here, right? So C2H3O2 minus charge. So the difference here, and this is weak here. The difference between strong acid and weak acid is this. The strong acid, the reaction goes one direction. All the H hydrogen chloride is used up, and it makes all hydrogen ions and chloride ions. In the case of this reaction, some of this stuff breaks up into hydrogen and acetate. Some of it stays the original reactant. So some of it's left over. So that's it. A weak acid is one in which the reaction is reversible, not all the reactant gets used up. Strong acid, all the reactant gets used up, turns into hydrogen, whatever the other thing is. Does that make sense? Hope so. Say hi then. Can I say hi? Yeah, it's like my pet peeve when kids look at my window. I just want to go yell. It's okay. Tell them I'm going to go chase them on the highway next time. Alright, anyway. So that's it. So, strong and weak bases, same thing, right? So, strong base. Put it in water, H2O, and we end up with all the particles breaking down into sodium and hydroxide ions. This is strong base. And then a weak base. And I was thinking this morning I should have used a different weak base. But I'm going to use this one anyway. No, I should use this one. No, let's not do that. Let's do something like iron hydroxide. There we go. That's much better. H2. Okay, so this is going to break up into iron ions and let's do +3 and hydroxide ions, right? This would be a weak base. And so, really, it's the same thing, right? This is strong because the arrow points one direction. This is weak because the arrow points both directions. And that's it. So you can look at any reaction and you can say, okay, this one here has hydrogen, so it must be an acid. It produces hydrogen. Arrow points one direction, so it must be a strong acid. This one produces hydrogen, so it must be an acid, but the arrow goes both ways, so it must be a weak acid. And the same thing over here. If it produces hydroxide, it's a base. The arrow points one direction, it's a strong base. This one's a base, but the arrow points both ways, so it's a weak base. So really, that's pretty much it. Yeah. I guess that's as much as I want to get into this today. Yeah. Yeah, we'll have a worksheet. Yeah, I don't think I want to go any further. I think we're good here. Any questions? Yes. The arrow points both ways, it's weak. That's it. That's it. It's that easy. Like wonderful.
Have a whole worksheet on it?
Yep.
Why do you have to waste paper?
Not wasting paper. See, if I didn't give you a worksheet, then I'd have to like teach something else in addition to this. And then you'd forget the first thing I taught you. You'd be completely confused. I spend the next 5 days trying to teach those 2 things. And if I just wasted a little bit of paper, you'd get those 2 things in 2 days.
You said waste.
I know, but I was using that in a
video.
facetious way.
Sorry,
Not really wasted. That's okay. Once I put on YouTube, I edit the end and the beginning out. Well, I can't take out that part when I was talking about the kid walking down the hallway. Other than that,
about that.
the rest of it will get taken out. But me, you have to stop it. Maybe on the wall here.
You can stop whenever you.
Yeah, got
Just
it.
wait till 4th period. It's fine.